Okay, ladies and gentlemen, dear honored guests, and good morning. Okay, as our chairman Guan have already given elaborated this discussion of our guiding principle of credit rating, and I will just show you how the latest results that we have obtained under the guidance of the theoretical basis. And today our agenda is like this. That I will just briefly recap on the theoretical basis of our guiding principles, and then we will show you our primary rating factors of the rating methodologies that we developed, and then we will walk through the different sections of our rating methodologies as well as the rating factor structure and the indicator framework and their respective assess method. And then lastly, I will give you some discussion on the innovations that we have done as for our Dagong rating methodologies. And then I will do a comparison of Dagong's methodology with the 3 agencies in the US. Okay, this, as Chairman Guan have already said, that our theoretical basis is that the two relationships, one is the production and credit, and the other is the credit rating. And the production demands the ever expansion of the credit, and so we believe this is a pro-cyclical driving force to propel the credit rating-based economies. And then for the other relationship, the credit and rating, we believe the contradiction between the credit and rating demands the control of credit expansion, and that the rating is a driving force for the counter-cyclicality of the credit-based economies. And as Chairman Guan have already said, that our guiding principle aims to answer the three questions that creditor needs to answer. The first is the maximum debt burden, and the second is will the outstanding debt being repaid on schedule, and the third is there any margin for incremental debt? And this is just show you our framework under the guiding principles. All of our rating methodologies will be presented in this framework that we will interactively analyze the debt repayment environment and the wealth creation capability, the debt repayment sources, as well as debt repayment capability. We will analyze each of the primary rating factors in turn, and then we'll infuse them together into our rating opinion on the credit risk of the issuer. Okay, let's take it factor one. The first factor is the debt repayment environment. In a debt repayment environment, we further break down the primary factor into two sub-factors. One is the political and legal environment, and the second is the credit environment. And the innovation here is that we emphasize on the importance of credit environment, and the rationale behind the division of the rating factor is that we believe that the existing substructure influence the repayment capability, and the credit-based economy, the credit-based economy demands to the analysis of credit environment. And as you can see, this is the structure of our three methodologies, and it is uniform in a sense that the analysis are based on the political and legal environment as well as the credit environment. Of course, there are nuances that between the methodologies. For example, in the sovereigns, the focus will be on the national debt development strategy and the governance performance. And for commercial banks and insurance firms, that the focus is on the regulation mechanism and the regulatory system. And as for the credit environment analysis, we will analyze in turn the credit policy of the environment that the issuer is in, as well as the credit instrument that the issuers can utilize, as well as the rating system and the credit system. And we believe our features for the debt repayment environment analysis is that we do not set country ceiling to cap the non-sovereigns into the sovereign credit rating of a particular country. And instead, we take the debt repayment environment as a factor when determining the credit ratings so that non-rating will not be constrained by such ceiling. And we also highlight the importance of credit environment. We believe this is a feature that demanded by the now prevalent credit-based economies. And now we go to factor 2, that's the wealth creation capability. I would believe Chairman Guan have already elaborated extensively on the importance of wealth creation capability. So when analyzing the credit risk of insurer, for example, on the sovereign issuer side, with the main focus on the wealth creation capability analysis is can they generate adequate fiscal revenue to repay their outstanding debt as well as to pay their incremental debt. And for financial institutions in commercial banks and insurance firms, we believe our focus will be on the profitability of the financial institutions. And as you can see, this is also a framework that are uniform, and we will analyze the wealth creation capability of sovereigns into three aspects. The primary aspect is the tax revenue, their structure, their stability, and their potential growth of revenue. And then, if possible, the sovereigns can the sovereigns access fee revenue as well as other revenues. And for financial institutions, I believe we'll analyze in turn that the market dynamics and the competitiveness of respective issuers, as well as their financial analysis on their revenue, cost, and profit. And you just compare these two, that the structure is uniform, so that we believe this can better make our rating analysis portable across different industries and regions. As for the third factor, that's debt repayment sources, and as Chairman Grant have already elaborated, that our core analysis will on the degree of deviation. As we define that the degree of deviation is the distance between the available repayment sources and the wealth creation capability of an issuer. And we further divided the repayment sources into two tiers. One is the primary repayment sources, and the other is the available repayment sources. And we believe that the relationship between these two is that the primary repayment sources subtracted the effect of cash outflows will be the available repayment sources. And the available repayment sources is the dedicated sources that can be used to repay the outstanding debt and possibly to support incremental debt. And as you can see, this is also the structure of our debt repayment sources analysis. We analyze each of the sub-factors in turn, in a sense that these available repayment sources are ranked in accordance with their relative degree of deviation. For example, in the sovereigns, what we focus on is the primary fiscal balance. And then further down, you go to debt financing. The debt financing, in our view, is that they have a higher degree of deviation, and which in turn shows that it's less reliable than primary fiscal balance. And you go further down, the situation is that the currency issuance is we believe is the least stable, and should not be relied upon except for very extraordinary cases. And for financial institutions, we believe the available resources that we will focus on is that we focus on the stability and the availability of profits. And we want this kind of degree of deviation ranking in a sense that we want to stress the importance of the internal revenue generation capability of financial institutions. And we discourage leverage the reliance on debt financing and on external support, in the sense that we try to rank these available resources in the sense that if the financial institutions have strength in their profit generation and capital adequacy and their reserve status, and it will be favorably analyzed. And if they in a sense, they rely heavily on debt refinancing and then using their realizable assets, the liquidation of their realizable assets to repay outstanding debt, and we will penalize them using our degree of deviation analysis. And let's just give you an example how the debt repayment sources are analyzed. This is the analytical structure of sovereign that we have assigned different weightings on the available payment sources. For example, the most important available repayment sources, we have assigned them the highest weighting, that's 30% in this case, and then you go further down, the weighting decreases, so that we analyze each of the each of the repayment sources, and we arrive at a conclusion. The conclusion is transformed into the repayment sources security coefficient, and then we use the weight of each repayment source assigned, and then the degree of deviation is calculated in a fashion using the formula above. And I will just give you a sense that how our past data have shown that this is analysis that we have done regarding the degree of deviation for sovereigns. And the chart on the left is that is the degree of deviation for highly indebted developed countries, and the chart on the right is the emerging economies. As you can see, that it is generally the case that where the countries which are currently in debt crisis or they are facing potential debt crisis, they have a higher degree of deviation. And for those countries with robust economy and stable fiscal revenue base, and that degree of deviation is low. As for the economy, as for the emerging economies, and the situation is similar. As you can see that for developing countries such as China, because of their relatively high growth, as well as their low, as well as their low overall debt burden, so their degree of deviation is lower. And for the countries that are in a crisis where their fiscal revenue base is not stable, their degree of deviation is higher. And we believe that the significance of this degree of deviation concept is that the degree of deviation is an innovation concept introduced by us, serving as the principle to promote the importance of profitability. And it's an inherent link among wealth creation capability, the debt repayment sources, and the repayment capability. And the last factor is the debt repayment capability, which the analysis is that it refers to the maximum debt burden of debtors determined by the available source of repayment within a certain period. And the analysis is done that we use the degree of deviation results obtained in the third part of our analysis, and then we use an adjustment technique to arrive at the three debt repayment capabilities, which is outstanding debt repayment capability and incremental debt repayment capability, as well as the maximum debt repayment capability. I will further show you, using an example on commercial bank, is how we adjust the degree of deviation to arrive at the repayment capability results. This is, for example, you can see that the first two is the degree of deviation for available repayment resources on the outstanding debt. On the right is the degree of deviation for incremental debt. We use the risk adjustment index to adjust each of the conclusions to arrive at the debt repayment capability for outstanding debt as well as the incremental debt. The difference between these two is that we use historical data to calculate the degree of deviation for outstanding debt, as well as the risk adjustment index. And we use projected data to analyze the degree of deviation for incremental debt, as well as the risk adjustment index. So that's we then combine these two conclusions with the repayment environment analysis, as well as our analysis on wealth creation capability to arrive on the maximum debt repayment capability for local currency. And then we further adjust for the foreign currency to arrive at the foreign currency debt repayment capability. So this is roughly the analytical framework that we will use when we decide, when we arrive at the credit rating conclusion. As you can see, as I already mentioned, that we analyze each of the 4 primary rating factors in turn, and then we will arrive at the rating results. And we will ensure the robustness of these rating results using our simulation test to see whether they are stable enough. And then we will use the rating verification methods such as surveillance and all those scenario analysis to see that we will use this kind of technique to continuously monitor our rating conclusions. And of course, the last is they will show in the methodology. We will show you that how our rating symbols are defined. Okay, this is just to give you a very high-level glimpse on our rating factor structure and weighting framework. Due to time constraints, I will not go into details regarding how each of the factors are weighted, analyzed. But I will just show you that we have assigned different rating, different weights on each of the factors, and we will drill further down into lower level factors. And then some of the factors are modifiers. In this case, for example, the rating system. We didn't assign a weighting on them. We have assigned 100% weighting on credit system, meaning that if we find that the credit system, the analysis is sufficient, then no modification on the rating system is used. However, if it's not the case, then we will use the rating system analysis results to modify the credit system analysis results. And it goes in a similar fashion for other rating factors, such as wealth creation, the debt repayment sources, as well as the repayment capability. And if you want the details, you can refer to your USB disk. And we have put our rating methodology text in the USB provided to you in the package. And if you have further questions, and we believe our contact details are included in the rating methodology text as well, and you can contact us. And this is just show you an indicator framework. Due to time constraints, I will just skip this too. And then lastly, I will just tell you the innovations that we believe we have done in our global methodologies. We have focused on, we have made a very great emphasis on the wealth creation capability as the fundamental factor determining that repayment capability. And we emphasize credit relationship as an economic base for the debt repayment environment analysis. And we use the degree of deviation concept to stress the importance of internal wealth generation capability and to discourage the over-reliance on contingent refinancing. And another thing that we would like to draw your attention upon is that there's no country ceiling for non-sovereign entity ratings. And instead, we will use the analysis of macro risk in the debt repayment analysis. And lastly, I will draw your attention upon is the uniform analysis framework, in a sense that for each of the different rating methodologies in different, be it sovereigns, financial institutions, the structure is uniform. And then we hope to maintain the consistency and the comparability of the analytical results across the sectors and regions. Okay, this is just to give you a sense that the Dagong's rating methodologies are unique in a sense that we have made some progress in revising the deficiencies that we have identified in the 3 US rating agencies. Due to time constraints, I will not go over to them one by one, and I will just give you detailed discussion if you have time in the break provided. So I think I will skip all this, and I'm here to take any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Weizhi, for your presentation. Indeed, he has asked us if there is a question. There is one, so I would come over with the mic. And you can say which organization you work for.
Kai Giering from the University of Heidelberg. Thank you very much for the interesting speech. It was very interesting to hear. The chairman and you highlighted the importance of the economic system of a country for the repayment capability. From a Chinese perspective, is having a democratic system or democratic government considered a stabilizing factor, or is it more considered maybe an obstacle to reforms or an obstacle to repayment capability?
Okay, thank you for the question. It's a good question. And our belief is that we are not judging whether this particular sovereign is democratic or not. We are analyzing the political and legal environment in the sense that we focus on the policy continuity of the be it a sovereign or a financial institution. The situation is that if the debt repayment environment is the policy continuity is very high, which means that the policy are stable, that are predictable, then we will assign a high value in terms of the political and the legal aspects. And if, in a sense that if the policy continuity and the power succession, the process is not stable and not predictive, then we will assign a low score regarding this particular rating factor. And in the sense that democracy does not automatically translate into policy continuity. As you can see, there are a lot of the so-called democratic sovereigns in the Middle East, but they have installed their, the whole democratic system but due to other constraints, being the conflicts of their internal power struggles, and the situation is that they do not adequately have a predictability of their policy. So my answer to your question is that we will analyze the actual situation of the policy and then their continuity of the policy to see whether it's a stable debt repayment environment or not. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you very much. We allow one more question, if I may suggest, to stay in the schedule, and any further questions, I would recommend to have them then in the break. If you would also introduce who you are.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Jean-François Véron from Société Générale Rating Advisory. Thank you for your presentation. It was really very interesting. I had in the past the opportunity to make a comparison of the methodologies of the three main rating agencies for sovereign. And certainly there is one thing which they do not capture in their approach. This is the central bank financing. And this is something that we all know is extremely important today. How would you capture this? How would you look at this according to your criteria?
Okay, I don't know whether I understand your question correctly. What do you mean by the importance of central bank financing?
I think, according to what I heard, there would be a major contingent financing in the current economic environment. Like if we take a step back a few years ago, there were some issues within the banking sector, and the sovereign actually had to step in. And then the sovereign went into trouble, or some of them, and then central banks had to step in.
Okay.
What is the next step?
Oh, okay. We understand. So you mean you are worried about the situation that the central banks might fail? Is that well? According to our rating methodology, the situation is that for sovereigns, we assign a very low weight on the currency issuance. That's what currency the so-called quantitative easing, or is generally we perceive that it is often the last resort or extraordinary monetary policies that are the sovereigns that can utilize to alleviate the current sovereign debt crisis. And we discourage such policies, and in a way that in the degree of deviation concept, we rank the currency issuance as the lowest importance in terms of the available repayment sources. And we want to encourage the sovereigns to use their internal capabilities in a sense that we want to encourage them to use their fiscal balance and their capability to levy taxes to repay the outstanding debt instead of relying on monetary policies so that they can get away with their external outstanding debt.